Big trades yesterday in the NFL, and the Texans made a trade of their own. It is SNL, Landry Locker, Cody Stoots with you. We are hours away from the Texans returning to the practice field. We'll lay out what we're looking for as that happens. Be sure to subscribe, like, right along. Best Texans coverage in the country on my channel and Stoots, and the daily simulcast Monday through Friday. Let's just hop right into it. Why did the Texans trade Akers? What was going on here with the Texans trade of Cam Akers? Is there more to come? What do we make of this, Cody?
There's context necessary when I say this, but there's not a lot of teams in the National Football League that would trade their number 2 rusher for a conditional 6th-round pick and also send a conditional 7th-round pick. Now, obviously, the context is the top 2 running backs on this team have been hurt for most of the season. And when they came back, both those guys looked better than when Akers was in there. But he had the second most rushing yards on the team coming into this week, and you didn't have to get rid of this guy. Like, he could have been inactive on days that you didn't think he was necessary, but you have 2 running backs that you're now relying on that are fresh off of easily re-injurable injuries. Re-injurable is not a word, but I just made it one. Joe Mixon's ankle and Dameon Pierce's hamstring are both injuries that could pop up out of nowhere at any time and could be a serious issue for this team. And I'm not acting like Cam Akers is some amazing running back, but I liked watching him run the football more than J.J. Taylor and Dare Agumbawale. Now, Agumbawale can catch the ball maybe better than what Akers showcased, but it was a curious move, and it showed to me that they have a tremendous amount of belief in the health of Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce. And I don't know if I'm all the way there like the Texans are on those 2 players.
Well, here's the thing, and it is SNL. Shout out to everyone on the chat waking up with us in the morning. Landry Locker, Cody Stoots with you. Here's the thing. You said there's no context to where you do this. We actually have an example of them of the Texans doing this, and it made sense the last time that a similar trade happened. And we go back to 2021, Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram is on a crappy team. It's football hell. David Culley's coaching. It's a lost cause. You probably don't even want to win games. And they send him, I think it was a late round pick swap at that time. They send him to a familiar place on a better team, the New Orleans Saints. And at that point you say, okay, well, you're not necessarily trying to make your team better. So this makes sense. Nobody thought that Mark Ingram was Saquon Barkley or Joe Mixon or anything like that. But the justification for that was, okay, you're getting into the good graces of players. You're doing the player a favor. I think they even came out and said that they did Mark Ingram a favor, and It was accepted because they weren't going anywhere. And there was no benefit to the Texans really winning games at that point. So you do this with Cam Akers. You send him back to Minnesota, familiar situation, and I can't really justify it. And here's the other thing that I don't get. You talked about, well, now they're relying on Dameon Pierce and Joe Mixon. Both those guys have been hurt. Like, both of those guys have missed more of the season than they've actually played. So nobody thinks that Joe Mixon is or not Joe Mixon. Nobody thinks that Cam Akers is like God's gift to running, but you're thin at the running back position. You can make a strong case that he's your best runner between the tackles. And I've heard people say, well, Dare Agumbawale is better. Dare Agumbawale is not better at running between the tackles than Cam Akers. He's better on this team. He's more valuable. Like, if we were picking who's more important, Dare Agumbawale would probably be the second most important running back. But the one time that he's carried the load, it was awful. It was 2 yards per carry. So I don't understand this. I think that there's got to be something else here where maybe they're going to bring in another running back. That would be my guess. But just on the surface, if you're just what we have to make sense of in the present, in the fluid process that is sports transactions, especially with this effing team. I mean, especially with this effing team and how much they're willing to pivot. It doesn't make a lot of sense to feel comfortable with Mixon, and I don't think you want Mixon to carry too much of a heavy workload. I mean, you've already seen how much of a difference there is when he's not out there. Pierce, we have a small sample size, but Dameon Pierce in 2 of his 3 seasons, one of them he was unplayable. The other 2 he's missed time. And then you have J.J. Taylor and you have Dare Agumbawale. I don't think they believe in J.J. Taylor. I don't think they do. So there's got to be another move coming, because just on the surface, it doesn't make sense with your depth situation at running back.
I mean, they began the season with the 4 running backs. Like, there was an expectation the four running backs, and I guess in an emergency in a pinch, British Brooks, but they clearly felt him as a fullback. But I mean, Cam Akers was inactive the first couple of games because you had Joe Mixon or the first game because you had Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce. Then when Pierce wasn't there, Akers was up. So like they clearly began the 2024 season with an idea that they may need Cam Akers. And I don't know that one game against the New England Patriots, 1 week where the number 1 and number 2 on their depth chart are healthy, all of a sudden makes Cam Akers totally expendable. So it's a curious decision. You hope that it never, like, I hope this conversation that we're having about, like, well, who's the running back going to be if this guy goes down or that guy goes down? Like, I hope that never pops up, but it does feel like a precarious spot to put yourself in. You didn't have to do this. It's not like Cam Akers was some financial burden. I don't feel like he was some sort of locker room burden. And it's not like you got some amazing pick. I mean, I'd be shocked if these picks even convey. There's conditions. We don't know exactly what the conditions are. I guess only the two teams know that at this point. I mean, you didn't have to do this. It just, hey, the Texans have done this before. They put some unnecessary risk around their team from a depth chart standpoint, and they must be super comfortable. Look, Mixon's a bell cow, and he basically never misses time, but he's already missed time this season. And then Pierce, you laid out the injury history. It's just a small, unnecessary
it doesn't
risk.
make sense, and I don't think it's small. JJ Stagg, shout out to you. Good morning to you, my friend. Thanks for joining us, and I'll be sure to subscribe on the podcast platforms as well. Cam is not an important piece. Come on. What team thinks the RB 3/4 isn't expendable? I don't know. I don't see other teams trading their RB 3 or 4. Are you comfortable saying that Cam Akers is without a doubt RB 3 and 4? I'm not. I don't know that Dameon Pierce is better than Cam Akers at this point. We have one run. And the other thing is, what team thinks that their RB 3/4 isn't expendable? Well, a team who's had the top 2 running backs get injured should probably look at it a little bit differently. And a team that's had trouble running the ball should probably look at it a little bit differently. That would just be how I would look at it. And oh, by the way, he's second on your team in rushing right now. So I think another move is coming. I find it hard to believe. I've had some frustration with the handling of running back depth. I just find it hard to believe that something else isn't going to happen, because it's not like you got anything.
This has to really, for a guy that has been pounding the table basically since the opportunity to draft Jonathan Taylor, this has got to be really grinding your gears how they operate the running back spot.
And I think I Must Pandaline is kind of cooking in the chat right now. I'll take my eggs fried, please. I'm gonna go JJ Watt style today. I'm feeling a little crazy because she's over there cooking, because you can minimize it, but the reality is, and I think what she's bringing up just based on what she's saying, is that there's injuries. They happen. We see it all the time. You have running back depth. There was a time where we didn't know if it was going to be Akers or Pierce active. Like just a short time ago, people were surprised that Pierce was active instead of Akers. So I don't think you minimize it, especially on a team like this, and especially with where the Texans are. So yes, there might be another move, but you don't have to carry Nick Caserio's water every time he does something. It's okay to question him, and it's okay for in the fluid process it to play off. But this is not Madden, where you can. If you told me I could turn injuries off and and I don't have to worry about it, then yeah, this might be fine. Might be. Again, I don't know. I don't know if Dameon Pierce is better than Cam Akers at this point. I didn't think Cam Akers was awesome, but I thought you were very thin at running back. So I actually agree with what she's saying on this. Is it like the DeAndre Hopkins trade or something like that? No. But what have we been talking about the most about the Texans?
Depth.
And the inability to run the ball. The inability to run the ball has been one of those things. So with Joe Mixon back, it'd be cool if he could carry the ball 30 times a game. I would love that. I think everyone would love that. I don't know if it's realistic to ask coming off an injury or whatever. I don't think it's ideal in any situation. But when you have a weakness and you have uncertainty at a position, and then you decrease the depth of that position, that's not ideal. And I do think it changes.
I wonder if there's going to be like a more gadget special teams guy in the running back room, like on the way. Like that's kind of how I see it. It's like, because Robert Woods has been banged up basically this whole season. I know he's played some games, but he's got the foot injury. Maybe that's lingering. And maybe they just see that roster spot as, hey, let's go get a different type of running back because Akers can't do punt returns.
No.
And they don't seem comfortable using him on kickoff returns either. So maybe it's a refocusing of that final running back position. And if that's the case, then I'll see the vision.
No, and
I don't see the vision yet.
I think that's going to be the vision. And in the short term, it doesn't matter. Like if they trust Dameon Pierce, Cam Akers had a jacket on the other day before he went and got his 2 mop-up carries. In the short term, it doesn't matter. Like the active running backs are pretty much set. I will say this. I will say 7 days, between 7 and 20 days. I think we see another running back on this team. Between the next week and 20 days, I think we see another running back on this team. Now you have your bell cow and Joe Mixon. I'm not saying it's going to be a huge name.
That's not JJ Taylor, you mean? Like, so like not just putting him up from the
They don't believe in JJ Taylor. Like when they were struggling to run the ball, they never once did they say, all right, let's let JJ Taylor cook. They never
elevated him once and didn't even use him 1 week.
Yes. I think sometime next week there's the gap after the Jets game on Halloween. They're going to add some sort of running. Yeah, they're going to add some sort of running back to this mix. I do believe that. I find it very hard to believe that they would be comfortable with this moving forward, especially given the fact that the 2 guys at the top we've already seen injured. So that would be I would bet good money that another running back ends up joining the Houston Texans.
Now I gotta go scour the depth charts of other teams as well as free agency, see if there's a gadget special teams ace.
Yeah, I don't know whether he's a special teams ace. I don't know what he is. I don't know if he's like someone from like a similar system. I don't know.
Maybe just a big fat running back, just to have a hammer.
No, those are dead. Come on, name one big fat running back now. Those are dead. They're dead.
I gotta go find him. Is Mike Tolbert still playing football? Go get Mike Tolbert.
Natron Means ain't walking through that door, brother.
Go get Mike Tolbert.
He is going to walk through that door. Might have to be sideways.
Okay, hold on. Wow, I didn't realize Mike Tolbert's been gone so long. He was like the every now and then. Oh, there he is. There's the big fat guy.
Yeah, he's been gone for a minute. He was the last time I saw that Mike Tolbert was on my radar was didn't he have a long ass play in the 2019? Am I making this up? In the 2019 playoff game with Buffalo, didn't they like find him in the flat or something like that? And
you are making this up. He hasn't played since 2017.
Who was the fat ass fullback for the Bills?
Who was Was it a running back that didn't used to be fat that then got fat. I can't remember who it was.
So I was wrong. So there you go. We'll see. But I think there is a running back, but I don't think it's that smart. And now Matt Maher swarming the super chat.
Wait, hold on. Are you thinking about CJ Anderson?
No, it wasn't. CJ Anderson had a nice run with the Rams against the Cowboys. Remember when they picked his fat ass up and he just went ham? Yeah, that was in the playoffs. That was 2019 because that was the year because I was in Vegas and the Titans beat the Ravens. I parlayed it. And I took them money line. I took the Titans money line. Then I took the Texans money line against the Chiefs. $30 would have won me $1,600. So when the Texans were up 21-0 against the Chiefs, I was thinking that my $30 was going to turn to $1,600. Boom. Bill O'Brien didn't have a play. Swarm in the super chat. Let's move on. I'm going to cry.
Matt Maher.
Swarm.
What is that?
Look at that.
Matt Maher says David Johnson. No, thank you. Someone says Eddie Lacy. Not yet. Eddie Lacy was fat. He's not.
Eddie Lacy famously, when he was traded from
Matt Maher, you are the best, by the way.
Matt Maher's the man.
We got to meet you at the Lions thing for sure.
He's been a supporter of the channel since.
Hit us up. I think Dom in Jersey is going to try to have a gathering. Join us wherever we go.
Eddie Lacy, when traded from Green Bay, famously said that he would miss all the China food in Green Bay. He did not call it Chinese food. He called it China food.
Does Green Bay have good Chinese food?
That was the big surprise to me, was that apparently Green Bay's got some very good Chinese cuisine.
Really?
Yes. Well, at least Eddie Lacy thought so.
Okay. What?
I'm just relaying. When you've never had this. When you're real fat, Landry.
Oh, I've had it. I eat fat.
When you're real fat, sometimes bad food accidentally tastes good.
Okay. I'm trying to think about what you just said. Okay.
That's my
That's
that's
food.
that's my fat ass knowledge of the day.
It's, the food that tastes all the same when you go to some buffets. So that's one move. Moving on extremely quickly. What happened to Fournette? Blah blah blah. I don't know what happened to Fournette. Shout out to Leonard Fournette. Big fan of his work, by the way.
He's still hanging around trying to get a job, isn't he?
I never know what the hell Fournette's up to. I like Leonard Fournette because he appreciates, and this is kind of the food thing. We'll get to the big moves around the league in a sec, but I appreciate Leonard Fournette because just like I appreciate Jamarcus Russell, I think I just like country folk, man. I think I just like the country folk because Leonard's a little bit country too, but like I like Jamarcus Russell because he was freezing his ass off in 60 degrees. I like Leonard Fournette because he used to talk about how his go-to was gas station grub before he would go to school. He said he'd show up late and he was all about the gas station grub. Some beignets or whatever. I actually ate gas station burger the other day when I was in town in Dallas. The one I used to go to all the time.
That one
it's changed ownership a few times, but it was off the chain. It's still good though.
Still good.
No, they still know what the hell's up. It was still good.
Changed ownership, but didn't change the cooks or the ingredients.
Yeah, it was kind of effed up because mom was cooking a meal and I just said, hey, I got to go get some gas. And I just got I still ate though. I doubled up, but I didn't tell her I was getting me a cheeseburger there.
Is shame eating a burger that's delicious in the parking lot?
No, because the problem is, and she knows I used to grub there on the reg, but the problem is that it's already offensive. Like I could have gone somewhere, like anywhere. DF Dub has Brahms. God, I wish they had Brahms in Houston. But like if I would have brought Brahms, she would be offended enough. But if I said I was going to get gas station burger before this nice roast that you've been making, that probably wouldn't have gone well. The impact of the Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper trades. Let's just start this out. Which one of these do you think impacts the Texans the most?
The Cooper trade impacts the Texans more. I
long
believe
term, long term, short term though, it's going to be a mofo facing Devontae in the short term.
Correct, but you didn't ask when. You just asked which one was most, and more to me is the Amari Cooper one because I don't believe that the Jets are going to make the playoffs. I don't believe you're going to see them beyond one game left in the regular season. I do believe the Bills are going to be a roadblock for someone in the playoffs. Like the four teams that should be the top four teams as we look at it right now. In the AFC, Chiefs, the Ravens, the Texans, and the Bills, the chances that you see the Bills again are pretty high. The chances that you see them again are pretty high. And hopefully, by virtue of your victory against them, you're not going to see them in Buffalo. But Amari Cooper is a good player. Allen should be able to get him the football. They've had some disappointing performances from guys that aren't Khalil Shakir on that team and gets them another weapon. And I tell you, I would think that the Bills probably are not done. If they feel like they can add a little bit here or there, they may even continue to add to their team. But as far as Cooper versus Adams, Cooper, because you might see him in the playoffs, you're only going to see Devontae on Halloween.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the Jets could maybe back into the playoffs. I equated this, and I did this last night on the stream, and shout out to everyone for joining the stream. We were like 350 deep at 10, actually 420. And that's kind of ironic if you know me a little bit at night.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
Yeah,
did you know what that was?
But I think
me neither.
I equated the Jets to someone who went to Las Vegas with $1,000 bankroll, and they immediately at the first table they saw they lost $500, and then they went to the next table and they put all $500 on the table at the craps table. Like there's no hope for long-term success. You're basically trying to at this point break even and save face for the season. But the other thing is this is not a long-term plan, but I think the Jets are all in. Now I say all that and I acknowledge that game in 2 weeks and a day is going to be a mofo for the Texans. And I almost think that's a scheduled loss. Or it could very well be. And I know people, I think the Texans are going to be cautious when it comes to playing guys on a short week on that surface because you're going to get extra rest for the Sunday night game against the Lions. And I also think the Jets are in a point where they can't afford to lose games, and the Texans are thin at corner. So I do think that is a mofo of a game, like in the short term. And the Texans lost to the Jets last year, didn't really mean a damn thing. So I think in the short term, the Davante Adams really, really impacts you. You kind of get lucky because you don't have to see Amari Cooper in the Bills. So you kind of got lucky there with the schedule. So it kind of balances out. But I am with you. And Buffalo kind of acknowledged, the notion that we don't need a big time receiver and everybody's happy with their targets was strongly exaggerated by everyone, including our quarterback. But I'm with you. Like when it comes to the ultimate goals for the Texans, not just winning a random Thursday night game while Al Michaels is falling asleep and Kirk Herbstreit is cramming before the game. The ultimate goal is impacted most by the Cooper trade.
Yeah. The playoff potential, Cooper, 15 days from now, Davante Adams. Look, Garrett Wilson's really good too. So this may not be the case, but Davante Adams on the Jets might be the first let's have Stingley follow the guy game of the season.
So Garrett Wilson's just going to be lined up on Ross. That's not fun either.
Well, no, I understand. And I made the preface that Garrett Wilson's really good too. But Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, we'll see 2 games of their work before Halloween, and we'll find out if they can recapture that Green Bay glory that those two had. And if they do, that may be a Sting follows Adams game. Right. And just figure it out with Garrett Wilson. Hopefully Kamari Lassiter's back for that matchup, and just try to figure it out with the other one. But that may be a Sting Travels game.
Yeah, I don't. To take your time, Lassiter. Justo Loco says, because Adams, it's a scheduled loss. Laughing emoji, hell nah.
Hold on. Take your time, Lassiter. It's a shoulder injury. It's not like his foot's hurt.
Yeah, take your time, man.
Just I don't care if he's on the turf because his shoulder hurts. Get the hell out there. What are you talking about?
Ice up, man. You're good. Get right, man. We need you.
You wanting to punt because of the Jets field is annoying to me.
Because Adams, it's a scheduled loss. Hell not. Nah, it's maybe I didn't make this clear. I thought I did. I said it could be a scheduled loss, and it's because it's a short week. So you have
on the
4
road.
days. You're a banged up team, and you're going to New York and playing on one of the worst surfaces in the entire NFL. That was very unkind to you last year, where Nico Collins went down, CJ Stroud went down, and you got beat to crap. And you have a Sunday night game against Detroit. So sometimes you give guys extra time to rest on those Thursdays, and you err a little bit on the side of caution. There's a reason guys aren't practicing. So no, I did not say because of Adams, it's a scheduled loss. I do think Adams makes it more difficult, especially when you're thin at corner. But yeah, there you go.
I'm also, back to back, 4 days apart, the Colts defensive line and then the Jets defensive line, like that's a tough draw for the interior of this offensive line.
Yeah. So they're a good defense. They're good defense on the short term. That's a very tough game. That's a tough game no matter what. There's
a pretty decent chance that's initially a low scoring affair between the Jets and the Texans. Maybe eventually the quarterbacks get going, but there's a pretty good chance that's a low scoring affair between those two, because the defenses should be really tough to handle for these offensive lines.
Yeah, and maybe it's one of those you can gut out. I don't know. You do get the other side of the resting guys is they get extra rest if they go out there and gut it out. Who knows? We're getting ahead of ourselves. That's 3 games away. And we are talking about the Adams.
They're a few days away from Green Bay, and we're like, the Jets game's pretty important.
Yeah. We're talking about Davante, so I guess it's kind of relevant. Corey says that Cam Akers is terrible. He runs with no authority. Okay. I don't think he's great, but
let's go check all the authority runs that Dare had.
I do think the one thing that this Texans team has, and it's probably not the most glamorous thing. The D-line travels. So if there is, Aaron Rodgers is not going to avoid sacks. At this point, I know that say what you want about him, he might be able to throw it as good as he ever has. His mind is probably the same, but he is not going to avoid sacks. And the other thing about this, we talk about short weeks, and I think it's valid whether you're a rookie, whether you're a 10, 15 year NFL vet. I think it's valid. 40-year-olds getting out of bed and playing on short weeks, whether it's at home or away, is probably not that fun. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers, like how he's feeling or anything, but that probably can't be too fun either. You're probably not at your sharpest on short weeks when you're in those 40s.
No, not at all.
And the Jets before that game, the Jets have to go to Foxborough and they're going to take on the Patriots. So we'll see how that
all right. So they get a nice little practice. So they get Steelers, Patriots, then Texans.
Steelers, Pats, and then the Texans on the short week on Halloween, where we will see the ghost of Aaron Rodgers. That's his Halloween costume. He's a ghost of his former self. Yeah, he might as well wear a sheet over his head.
If Adams and Rodgers could do it over again, you think they would have just stayed in Green Bay?
I don't think Green Bay wanted to keep Rodgers. I mean, I think they would have had he shut the hell up, but I think Green Bay liked Jordan Love a little bit, but if Rodgers would have shut up and just played, then maybe they would have ended up trading Love. I don't know what Devontae Adams wants, man. Like he wanted to go play with Derek Carr, and then now he wants to go back to Aaron Rodgers. Whatever. Good for him.
He's a wishy-washy fella.
JJ, shout out to you, my friend. Swarm in the super chat.
You ain't never hate. Swarm.
Why doesn't Nico travel Sting? Not his philosophy. He traveled him in the playoffs. It's not the ideal philosophy, but in the playoff game against the Browns, he traveled him. So
that it's not the way that they want to play. But again, think about it. We've talked about it. The corners never come off the field. So not only are they going vertical, but now you add a horizontal element. All of a sudden, that becomes quite a strenuous thing. I know some corners do travel, and that's the way they build the defense. That's not the ideal way for the Texans to operate, though.
I don't know that the Jets are a travel with team. I know you brought it up. I think it's kind of pick your poison with Wilson and Adams. Now, Adams obviously has the chemistry with Rodgers.
Well, if we see in the next 2 weeks that it's the Green Bay version of those two, then I would travel him and then just figure out Wilson.
The Green Bay version?
Yeah, if they can reconnect to the level when they were in Green Bay,
that's an if right there. Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
I mean, that's clearly what the Jets are hoping for.
No kidding, they're hoping for a lot for sure. I'm with you. Practice today. I'll be on the scene. Cody will be on the scene. Look out for the Basic Bitch practice report on my channel. Cody Stoots has got you covered as well, and we'll be in the mix. D'Amico Ryans will speak. What are we looking for at practice? What's the first thing that you're going to look at after we get the roster handed to us and we go in there and check out this practice?
So the first two numbers I'm looking for: 28, Joe Mixon.
Talking about practice.
Got to make sure Mixon's practicing, and then see if Kamari Lassiter's back. I don't anticipate him back, but see if Kamari Lassiter's back. So 28 and 4 are the first two. Then 0, Azeez Al-Shire. Got to make sure Diggs and Dell are practicing because you don't have Nico Collins. Is Robert Woods back? That's your
be resting no matter what, right? Same with Tunsil. Like Tunsil and Woods will be resting no matter what, right?
Maybe. Jimmy Ward, Henry To'oTo'o. Don't expect To'oTo'o to be back. He's in concussion protocol. And then I'll be looking for big number 96 to Nico Autry making his practice.
Yeah, I want to see what he looks like. I just want to see the off the bus factor. We're not going to see a lot. I just want to see the off the bus factor. We didn't really get to see it a lot. There was a lot of other stuff going on, but I want to see just the off the bus factor. How does 96 look next to Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter and Fatukasi and all these guys? Mm-hmm. So I want to see that. Wouldn't mind hearing from him either. And then I just want to see. This is a rest day, man. Like I don't think we're going to see Tunsil. Does Mixon need to rest or not? Who knows? But this is just going to be a rest day. I would be more surprised if Tunsil was out there than if he wasn't, to be completely honest. But I want to see what 96 looks like getting off the bus and joining his teammates.
Yeah, 96 is one of the first few numbers that I'm looking for just to see what the vibe is with him out there. The big offseason. I mean, the biggest offseason signing was Daniil Hunter. The second biggest signing that they brought in was Azeez Al-Shire. Third, Autry.
I don't know. The way they talked about Autry, you can probably put him up there near. Well, you can put him in the conversation at 2.
Well, he's not
just going off season, not with what we've seen. Al-Shire his value has been very well displayed. But as far as the way they talked, God, I mean,
I mean, even when they signed, I mean, Autry was never going to be a starter for this team. Alshire's a starter.
No, I know, but I mean, he's a sack specialist. He's a badass, as Nick Caserio said. By the way,
11.5 sacks last season.
Caserio was on with Seth and Sean this morning, wasn't he?
He was.
Okay. Did he anything of note? I'll definitely get into it in the night stream. I saw that he kind of joked about trading for a corner or safety. That was the only thing that I saw. I saw Patrick Storm put that up with Seth joking about that. Anything else that stuck out? Probably not.
Nothing that I feel like we need to cover.
Oh, okay, there you go. I don't know what the hell that means, but yeah.
I mean, your disrespect to Aziz has got to stop. They paid him $11 million a year. They paid Autry $10 million a year. Aziz is the second biggest signing behind Hunter.
What? What do you mean disrespect? Now you're just labeling me.
You think he sucks? You wish Blake Cashman was still here?
No, I don't.
You wish Blake Cashman.
I was defending.
If Blake Cashman got hurt
you were
Sunday,
way dismissive of the Blake Cashman impact.
If Blake Cashman had got hurt Sunday,
I thought Alshire had some big shoes to fill with what Cashman did. He's filled the shoes. I like Alshire. You're labeling me this. I'm not a Alshire hater.
If Blake Cashman got hurt Sunday, then I had to take him out of the hospital. In
no doubt.
New England.
No doubt. Yeah, Alshire's out there. He's battling, man. Forced the fumble. It's big. Stop the potential momentum.
Will somebody ask, did you teach Alshire how to punch the ball out to D'Amico Ryans?
Is D'Amico Ryans a punch the ball out guy like that?
Your question is a solid one.
Landry Doobie dry hating on Aziz. What do you mean? What does dry hating mean?
I don't know what dry hating is, but Dom's on to something.
I know what dry snitching is. Kind of like not snitching. Dry hating. I'm trying to think about that. That doesn't sound
dry hating
appropriate. No, I like Alshire. I didn't think that he would be as. I thought that he had some big shoes to fill. He's filled them. Said it. Like him, no doubt. No problem with Alshire. I like it.
Shaq size shoes.
Yeah, he's done his thing.
They were maybe like an 11.
Yeah, no doubt. I liked
Cashman Truther.
Cashman Truther. I mean, I thought last year at camp, I said this guy's going to be one of your best linebackers. Was I wrong?
You were correct.
Yeah, he got paid. Yeah. There you go.
Correct.
Okay, dry hating means above the jeans, so it's like dry humping type of thing. Okay. Dry hating. I think sometimes people just make up stuff. Dry hating. Let me look up dry hating. Let's see what we got here.
I'm almost afraid.
I said people. I'm a person.
I'm almost afraid to type it into Urban Dictionary.
Dry hating. Disliking or overlooking anything or person without having much knowledge about said thing or person. No, I'm very aware of his game. No doubt. Yeah, I think you might need to go back to the
maybe this one is hating so hard your mouth becomes dry. Like I guess you just continue hating to the point where you need to take a drink of water.
Okay.
I've never heard dry hating.
Okay. There you go.
Landry made fun of me for being a square yesterday as he dropped cocaine knowledge on everybody.
Hey, I'm your man.
No telling what you learned at those Diddy parties, but I don't know a lot of slang either. I did realize that Big X the Plug came out with a new album yesterday, and I've been streaming that.
You've been streaming what?
Big X the Plug.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't know about that.
I can't understand half the things he says, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I was bumping yesterday on my walk / I was bumping some Boosie Webby gangsta music, old school. God, Bun B signed those guys when they were at their hottest. Damn shame. Shout out to Webby. Best there is. All right, I got a dry hating education. There you go. Just indirect. Okay. I feel like it's pretty direct though. Yeah, I feel like it's like when people, I feel like there's some guys who just try to like use terms like low key, hey, low key. Like the young chicks now are like literally. And it's like, it wasn't literal. And then you hear someone say low key. It's like, there was nothing low key about that. I think you just probably opened up your X account or your Instagram and decided you wanted to say low key about everything. Low key.
John does throw one name in there. Okay. Perhaps that practice window could open for Okudah. The practice window could open for Okudah.
Yeah.
He's been
No,
on
I'm not a big X guy, I'm not locked in at all. I'm not locked in at all. Landry ain't locked in. I'm not a big X guy. So look, locked in. No, I see what I see and stuff. I'm not one of these guys. Like there's some like 60-year-olds who will try to break down like the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef. That's not me. I never really got into that either. So yeah, I'm not. Look, I'm the goofy mofo. 2000s like type of stuff, and then maybe a little something that I'll sprinkle in. I'll listen to like some stuff that reminds me of that 21 Savage before Drake, Kodak Black, all that. But no, I'm not trying. If you think I'm trying to be locked in, no, I'm not. I'm not the 65-year-old trying to break down a Drake Kendrick Lamar beef to be cool. I'm not that. I never got involved in that.
You do have a rap history depth that would surprise some people if they judged a book by its cover. They would.
Cody's the real one now. Look at you.
I just like a guy that I heard one song and I started listening to his other songs. I don't know it. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know, and I don't understand half of it, but I like the music.
Yeah. Ghetto Dope, one of my top 5 favorite albums of all time.
Yeah.
I think I got my CD book in here. You want me like you want to just go random and just see CD book?
You still have the CD book.
It's somewhere stored in here. Let me see. It might actually be in this locker. Hold up. We're going.
I love that you actually put stuff in the lockers.
What else would I do? Storage.
He's actually got stuff in the lockers. Let's see. Do you even have a CD player in your car? Like, does your car have a CD player?
No, it was just with the thing. Hold on a sec. Hold it down. Do a Q&A.
This is an elite Landry moment because there's so many things from his childhood that he has kept. He's got a million autographs and basketball cards, baseball cards that he's got. But he has like these treasured things from his youth that he somehow still has. Whereas like, I think I've gotten rid of every DVD and every CD that I ever owned.
All right.
Oh, he does have it.
All right.
Look how big that thing is. Good Lord.
There you go. This is extra.
Okay, hold on. Before you even open it up, at retail, how much money worth of CDs is in there?
Well, here's the thing about these CDs, and I think that anyone from Houston might be able to recognize, like back in the day, like when Paul Wall and Chameleonaire first came out, you had to put in a lot of effort. Like Swisha House days, you had to put in a hell of a lot of effort to go get CDs. Like you had to go to like Eargasm, Six Flags Mall, anywhere, like selling it out of the car. So there was a lot of sweat equity that went in this. But this is all Gucci Mane on the front. So Gucci, this was like the jail stuff.
He's even got the album inserts behind him. Hell yeah, look at that.
Yeah. So even more Gucci, all Gucci. Savage Life. This one's the chopped and screwed version by Michael Watts. We got that. Boosie right there. Mixtape Messiah. This is all Chameleonaire and Paul Wall except the Webby. So that's what we got there.
Look at this. This
the
is
Bum
great.
B. These are all Chameleonaire mixtapes that you have to get. The What It Do mixtape. When they used to kind of get you the DJ Who Kid Chameleonaire, the Chameleonaire, all that.
Damn.
The Slim Thug Chameleonaire, the Super Bowl mixtape, the bootleg Paul Wall Chameleonaire that was kind of shady, but I still bought it, even though it was messed up. Paul Wall, what do you know about It's the People's Champ, August 2005. It's the People's Champ. Then we got some more Swisher House. We got the instrumentals, the Bum B, Pimp C. T.I. Don't act like T.I. wasn't great. I'm serious when he had Pharrell. Urban Legend, chopped and screwed by Michael Watts. Very good job. The DJ Drama, Lil Wayne stuff back in the day. The Gangsta Grills T.I. Man, I don't know why I got that. That's the only good Young Jeezy album worth ever getting. Little Dipset there. This was LBP and DSR. That was
he's got pages and pages and pages. This
great. Is all DSR. Dallas group that was kind of chopped and screwed and motivated. What you know about the Purple Hulk, Big Tuck, right there? Shout out to Big Tuck.
UCK, chew on mics like a mic buffet.
Mike Jones mixtapes. Shout out to Tight. I don't know why I bought the Tight. It wasn't great. And then what you know about that Roy Jones, Body Headbangers, little 50 Cent action? Got to sprinkle some Kenny Chesney in. I am still a honky. So you got to have that. Now we're going Yin Yang twins. Don't act like that didn't go hard back in the day. Mace when he came back. And then we got some more country. Course more Webby.
The chat is fascinated that you have all these.
No, but as far as like the X stuff and all that, but if Kodak Black or 21 Savage remind me of like that era, that's fine. Paul Walker and I were like gods to me, man. Like that's not. It's funny. Like people will say those guys were all over Texas. There was like hustle. There was no SoundCloud back in that day. These guys had to grind. They had to go up 45 to Dallas. They had to go to Abilene. They had to go to Lubbock. They had to go to Amarillo. They had to go everywhere. And that took heart and hustle from those guys.
And it wasn't, I mean, they probably had, once they got it going, it was not easy to find someone to mass produce and make those CDs. Like that took time and effort too. Like it wasn't just like a, instant thing to make those CDs. Computers and stuff had to write them. Remember when you had to burn a CD or a DVD? Golly, that took forever.
I am days younger than 40, though. That is a fact. There's no doubt about that. I am young, maybe not too much longer, but I am days younger than 40. There ain't no doubt. But I respect the stuff. But yeah, that's just kind of what it is. But yeah, if you think I'm trying to get down with this new stuff, no, I'm not. I'm good.
Yeah, he's got a whole catalog of the old stuff to still go through.
I'm good, man. All right, man. Yeah, and I think the Rhino is part of that. We made them ourselves. Yeah, you had to scrap because I worked at a CD factory. That's how I first kind of came across it. I got to get the red and blue. Get your mind correct. Anyway, so to recap, Cam Akers trade, yay or nay? I'm gonna say incomplete. I'm gonna go sideways thumb. I'm gonna sit on the fence because I think it's somewhat incomplete.
I don't like it, but if the vision is to recompose what that final running back spot is, then I'll understand it.
Yes. And then Amari Cooper, you think is the bigger deal. I think in the short term, the Devontae Adams is going to be tough for the Texans, but I don't think the Jets are a long-term threat. Good job by the Bills to actually admit that the notion that you didn't need a big-time receiver was there. So there you go.
Yep.
All right. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like. Be sure to ride along. And be sure to always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. On to practice, baby.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Follow Landry on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, and we'll get you those practice updates here in a couple hours.
There you go.